Hey, I'm designer John Phenom, and thank you for clicking on my video, How to Become a Fashion Designer. First, let me qualify. I've been working professionally in fashion since 2000, starting at a very small skate line in Southern California. For most of my career, I've worked within contemporary men's, specifically in a segment of skate and surf, action sports, and or urban or streetwear clothing. But within that time, I've done almost anything you could do in fashion, too many fashion shows. I was fashion editor of a print magazine in Los Angeles back when people used to print magazines. Wardrobe and styling for music videos. And as of late, my last in-house position, I was creative director of a multi-million-dollar men's brand. So I was in control of everything visual, the entire visual language and visual aesthetic of that particular brand. And now I do a lot of speaking and education. So that's me in a nutshell. You could find more about my bio on johnphenom.com. But for your story and your legacy in fashion, I wanted to throw out a few tips on how you can become a fashion designer. My first tip is try to find a clear vision of what you want to become. Within fashion, there's a million niches, and inside those niches, there's yet smaller niches. When I'm speaking to students or I'm speaking at schools, I'll always say that try to find a chance to intern. And if you can't make that happen, find brands that you really love, brands that you would love to hang your future brand next to, or a brand you would like to design for, and keep offering your services. If you're very aggressive and persistent in one way or another, a brand is going to find a way to use your help. And it's really good to get close to the people who are doing a position that you might want to do. And whether it's internship or just volunteering, I think this is a great way to see in person what a designer might do in and out, day to day, and see what that's really like. And within that journey, I think you'll find pros and cons. And in your journey, you'll also find what you're strong and weak at. And so you can kind of choose better or navigate better to what your ultimate goal is in where you want to be, in where you want to design. Quick note, when I was 18 years old and all I wanted to do was become a fashion designer, I wrote down 10 of the top brands that I loved at the moment, and I found a graphic designer, apparel designer, art director, creative director, anything that I could find in the art department at every one of those brands. Now, I didn't find a person for all 10, but I was very aggressive, finding these people at trade shows, getting into the trade shows, and not being part of a shop, but just kind of hustling in there and talking to these people, giving them my business cards, staying in front of them, staying relevant, not bugging them, not necessarily stalking them, but just being very aggressive of letting them know that I would like to help, intern, volunteer in any way possible. So within this effort, I was able to really forge a lot of early relationships that helped me later. So the designers of that day later became the creative directors within the next few years, and some of those people even offered me jobs when I was able to start moving my career forward. Second piece of advice that I have for an aspiring designer is know your graphic programs. You should know Adobe Illustrator, you should know Photoshop. Bar none. You've got to know it. You know, there's still a few design houses where it's not quite a necessity, and if you're doing traditional studio type, very forward fashion, really fashion show driven type fashion, definitely exception to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule, but graphically you want to know Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Those two programs are how we create the graphic design for our t-shirts and visual language, and they're also the tools we use to create the blueprints for the garments when we're actually making CADs and tech packs and measurements and dimensions to actually create our samples and then our actual garments in cut and sew. So know your graphic programs. A third piece of advice that I have, and this kind of bookends with the first one, is be persistent. This is a general piece of advice and it sounds like a no-brainer, but you will be surprised how many people have a weak heart. And fashion is a very, very, very competitive. It's very volatile. So there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of opportunity also because of that change. So you need to be flexible in your approach. As long as you are able to make adjustments. It's just like the boat analogy. It's also like the airplane analogy. All boats and airplanes have to make little adjustments as they're getting towards their eventual destination. It's the same thing when you're setting out to become a fashion designer. There's a lot of shady people in the industry. And there's some trustworthy people as well. But definitely one thing that you can say is you can always trust on yourself. So if you're persistent, if you have an incredible work ethic, this is something where you can set yourself apart from other people in the field. Be persistent. Not only fashion design, but you'll be able to achieve nearly anything that you want and set your mind to. A fourth quick tip that I want to give for becoming a fashion designer is be able to speak very intelligently about trends and styles that are developing not only close to you or demographically close to you, but internationally and in and around the world. Definitely you want to be able to hone in and speak about the styling and things that are trending within the demo and the niche that you're actually going to work in. But do your research, and you have multiple tools, way more tools than when I was in my early 20s or in my teens, to keep an eye on the world and see how many things, music, film, are affecting fashion and what people wear and how they wear it. You know, when I consult or work with a new brand, especially from a design perspective, I'm really trying to figure out who their demo is. Like if it's a young man in his early 20s, what kind of music does he listen to? What movie did he just watch? What's in his iPod? You know, what's on his playlists? That sort of thing. Now, it's almost a psychological study, but which could be overboard. But in terms of really knowing who that customer is and the type of things they like to do will really speak about lifestyle. And in a lot of ways, we're outfitting people's lifestyle in creating the new styles and fashion that they want to wear. And regardless, if you find yourself in a setting where you're going to be working with professionals within the same niche in fashion that you want to work in, you want to be able to impress them and just speak intelligently about the things that are going on in trending and style, other brands, and that sort of thing. So be a maven of information for the type of niche you want to work in. The last thing I want to say is have fun. Fashion is meant to be fun. Fashion is meant to be something that is an expression. And at the end of the day, you got to remember that you're getting paid to do something you love. Even if at the moment it's not exactly right where you want to be. You're going to have your dream, for example, to become a fashion designer. And the way you get to that dream is going to change in a lot of different ways. So keep your mind open and make sure you have fun with the process. There's a lot of designers and artists that I know that get so tied up on the details, and remember, you gotta sit back and enjoy a lot of the process because we can't control most of it, but you can control how you react in a situation. So it's important to be flexible and have fun with the journey as it happens. Be able to refocus and get yourself on track whenever you need to. So number one, get a clear vision of the type of designer you want to be. Get that goal really set in clearly for yourself. Know your graphic design programs, Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Be persistent. Go out there and get it. Right now as we speak, there's 100 people watching these videos, but out of 100, there might be only 3 people that get a very coveted position at the label that you want to work at. So be persistent, have that vision, and know that you can do it if you put your mind to it and are disciplined enough to go through the ups and downs to be able to deserve that position. Speak intelligently about the trends that are going on around you and around you internationally. Keep an eye on style and fashion wherever you go, whether you're traveling, whether you're at school, whether you're just people watching on the street. Make sure you keep an eye out for fashion at all times. And the last one, have fun. I hope you had fun watching this video. If it gave you value, come back to my YouTube channel. I have over 100 videos on helping students and clothing brands get to another level, and that is why they call me the clothing brand mentor. My name is designer John Phenom. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.